or the system of Thanksgiving Day in the States? You, Maria, like Svetlana? You?
Thanksgiving, right? So I think as next to time when first fathers pilgrims came to Virginia, right?
No.
What was later in Virginia?
No, they came to Massachusetts.
Oh, sorry, Massachusetts. Yeah, that's right. And the first winter was very hard for the settlers. They lots of them died. And they, in a year, they gathered their first crops, their first harvest. They got harvest, and they were grateful fact that they survived.
Mm-hmm.
Since that, they started to celebrate Advent, right? For God, for their survival.
Right, that's good. And Christian says that they invited the Indians who helped them serve the first winter, that invited the Indians to their first feast. Now, we don't know if this really happened or not, but it's a wonderful piece of American folklore. And the holiday continues basically the same way every year. We eat the same foods, we see the same people, we play games, we watch football, and it's my favorite holiday of the year. My very favorite holiday of the year.
Picture I have, Professor Lero, is actually a Thanksgiving table once we're done with this one.
Super.
Oh, go on.
No. Yeah.
Can we just detour a little bit here and get the other main characters here?
Right. So it's already identified Snoopy.
Yes.
Question. I wonder why Thanksgiving Day is different in Canada and America, because I have friends in Canada and they already had their Thanksgiving Day, but in America it's just going to be. So.
Let's see. Thanksgiving Day in Canada is
Later.
It was like ago. Even though Americans try to claim that Canada is just sort of like a redheaded child and really could follow all our laws. In fact, it's a separate country, and they have their own laws.
It's tied to the English liturgical harvest feast or holiday. I cannot remember because of their traditions with England. So their day is actually tied to the, I believe, the Church of England's liturgical calendar.
Right.
We're still trying to name these people. Did.
Whiskey.
Nobody else?
No.
I haven't got a clue who this kid is. Right. Sorry.
Senya, Maria, who's the little boy with the yellow shirt and the round head? Oh dear, his name is Charlie Brown.
That strip is called Peanuts, if you've not ever seen it.
The other thing that's important is this bird right up here, the bird that's flying, the yellow bird character in the cartoon strip. Anyone know the name of the yellow bird?
Even for Americans.
The name of the yellow bird is Woodstock.
Yeah. There's a cartoon strip which you can find, and many American children will know Snoopy and Brown and Woodstock and Lucy and Linus.
Which is after a rock festival in upstate New York that was held 60s?
1969.
1969. You say that as if you were there, Professor.
I say that because I intended to go, but I was so pregnant that they didn't want me to leave town. I lived in New York City, and it was a good choice.
All right.
Try not to blame my daughter too much.
All right, see if I can get us Thanksgiving dinner here early.
All right, there it is.
There's a little heresy on the potato side, but okay, I think.
Okay. This could be the scene at anyone's table on Thanksgiving Day. So plus what do you have here? What do you see? Just name as many of the dishes as you can.
Well, I have turkey here, then beans, some fish, or I don't know. If I'm not mistaken, as from small tomatoes, cherries maybe, but I'm not quite sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sauce, look,
That's
what else? Let's see. How about this? We missed this.
I can see meat with egg.
Mm-hmm. Fried. You mean here? It's not fried eggs, but we'll have to figure out what that is.
This is some cakes.
What is here? These round things. What does it look like? Round?
Cakes or maybe rice.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Good. And what about this over here? This is some kind of a fruit salad. There's apples and this.
Apple or maybe apricot. Apple.
Apple and apricot. I think you're right. Fruit salad. That looks tasty, actually.
Yeah.
Somebody said these look like pidashki.
Yes, pidashki.
Well, not pidashki. I mean, Americans have no idea what pidashki are.
I certainly don't.
All right. And what about this in this bowl here? This stuff here. And then, what do you think? What is this? And we're still undecided about what these guys are.
Some sort of salad. Yeah.
Some sort of salad. Okay. Some sort of salad. I think my guess, Professor Marston, you correct me if I'm wrong, is that this bowl contains cranberries. Is that right?
I was thinking that.
Yeah.
I wanted to do cranberry.
Stuffing with cranberries.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's a good question.
We don't have anything like that looks like this on my table, but
There are cranberries here on the turkey platter.
mm-hmm. Okay.
Cranberries are almost they're more common now, but are almost never except for Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cranberries. Everybody knows what cranberries are, huh? Cranberries in Russia. And how about this? How about this funny little dish here? What's in that? What do you think that is? Anyone?
Sauce. Mm-hmm.
Some kind of sauce,
And
right?
honey.
Yeah, it's sauce. It's gravy. It's put on the turkey.
It's not honey. It's savory sauce made with the drippings from the turkey. So it's turkey juices that have been thickened usually, and you put on potatoes. And just so that you know, I'm pointing at my screen with my finger because I forgot. So I'm having a wonderful time pointing at my screen. Just I'd like to know.
It's not a touch screen, Professor Murphy.
I'm really used to touch screens. I'm ready for one. Okay, so I'm with you, Professor Lero. I want to discuss these.
What do we have here?
Yes, and I know that.
Pedagogical and not pea, and they're it's not bread.
Rice.
Not rice.
What other starch do we have left?
Maybe cutlet. Oops.
What?
But
Cutlet? No. Wash.
I thought it was stuffed dough. Stuffed dough.
Oh, no.
Dough.
No, it grows in the ground this way. Kind of tuber.
I'm in the refrigerator. I had it for lunch yesterday, actually. Okay, well, let's. The mystery is this. The mystery is too dramatic to keep to myself. These are sweet potatoes. They're called sweet potatoes, and sometimes they're called yams. Potatoes or yams, and they're really different vegetables. But as a practical matter, we distinguish between sweet potatoes and yams. And it's a potato, and is orange. The meat's orange, and it's very sweet. Oh, it's delicious. And these sweet potatoes have been baked and then hollowed, and then the potato has been put back into the skin. And little white things. These are little marshmallows. They're kind of like Zit in Russia. And they just add to the sweetness. Oh, this is such a decadent, such a delicious dish. It's one of my favorites. One of my favorites.
Oh, batata?
Potato. I don't know. Batata sounds like potato. Is that an American word?
But a potato. They sound like that.
Yeah.
Now that you can't see is inside the turkey.
See, this is why I thought that might be stuffing in the bowl.
Stuffing.
With
You know what stuffing is or drink?
not inside the turkey or anything else, but actually,
It's a filling.
Yeah.
It's a filling. And there are as many varieties of stuffing as the varieties of borscht. Everyone has their own of what the perfect stuffing is. Here in the South, we have cornbread stuffing. But Professor Marston, what sort of stuffing do you? And by the way, in the South, we tend to call it dressing rather than stuffing.
In the North, they tend to use stale bread.
Mm-hmm.
Stale bread and chickens or turkey stock, celery, and some other things. But those are the usual ones. And my favorite one for stuffing involves chestnuts, sausage.
Chestnuts and sausage. Oh,
An alternative view of the meal.
no, this is nice.
I'm
Hey.
hungry.
Oh, I'm too.
I haven't had breakfast yet. Oh, and so can you extrapolate from a picture just looked at what is in this dish?
Okay. Tell us what the three dishes are at the top of the picture. Right.
Here, bean and bread.
Mashed potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
Here's and you know, what do we have here? The red, the dark red. This the dark red. This is cranberry sauce. These are cranberries.
Been cooked and
Meat.
Sugar. Here, and Professor Marston's pointing to some on the plate, but Ksenia, what is this in the bowl? Looks like bread. Cooked. This the stuffing. And the yellow. What are yellow, Ksenia? It's corn. Right. Well, that's what we're having, and here are the green beans.
Green.
Green beans. And there's dressing. Mm-mm. Anyone else want to comment on Thanksgiving? No. Today, we're going to continue with our discussion of by playing with.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. If you look, I'd find a little picture. It's so great. Called Rockwell Thanksgiving, and I didn't find a very good one, and it needs to be reduced in size. It's kind of a thumbnail, but it will give you an idea, because what's missing from the food picture is the pictures of the food for Thanksgiving is the big ingredient. It's an enormous family holiday. And if people don't get together, if Americans don't get together for any other holiday of the year, they're likely to be home for Thanksgiving, wherever that is. And this is a picture of this event with all people of all ages and sizes. And so you have grandma has fixed this turkey, and then these are family members. Yeah, a 20-pounder. They must have a big table full of people, and all best dishes are out. That looks like it might be a silver dish. And this Norman Rockwell was an illustrator of the 20th century, and so everything that in America, and he's kind of an iconic artist to portray this, and he was famous for the covers that he did for the Saturday Evening Post. Somebody that I knew when I was growing up subscribed to this weekly magazine. and it was feature magazine, and we don't really have anything quite like that now. Maybe People, but get the same good feelings from People that I do from the Saturday Evening Post. The Post was less gossipy. So, talking.
This is a classic. This is a classic illustration by American artist and illustrator Norman Rockwell. All right. So we were talking about literature and talking about the factors that are used to analyze a piece of literature, and we you take one of the two pieces that we looked at, either the Story of an Hour or The Sea Life of Walter Mitty, and change chapter in it to the point where you change the story. So is everyone ready to discuss your creative efforts? Anyone not?
Oh, yeah.
Nadia? Okay, you're at the top of my list, so you go ahead and see if I can upload the list of templates. We have to find it here on my desktop. Just all right, so we now know that the template is up on the board. And Nadia, you what you selected, and what you did with.
Well, you see my link? I'm watching. So there, and please do. You'll find writing the story. I tried to do it the Walter's wife's point of view.
Mm-hmm. This is a great effort. Could you tell us right now what you did?
The story in a nutshell, I tried to rewrite the story, but from Wolf, but trying to imagine myself on his wife's place. So I try to imagine how his wife would think and how she would about his actions. So I try to be critical thinking, like she was, I think, and try to be and try to imagine how feel those women who have men under heel, right? Yeah, like you commented my first thing. He helped his husband, and she reacted on every attacking or hassling in a very strange way. He went back to himself and his mind and closed all the words around.
Change the character. You changed one of the characters.
Mm-hmm.
It's the personality of one of the characters.
Yes, I left all the replies, all her replies actually, but I connected them with some marks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I tried to imagine what she's what and how she would tell the story.
Hmm. So it has a what we call an American happy ending, right? No, it was happy. Everyone is happy. An American happy ending.
One of the things that I like about what you have written, Daria, is that did tie it quite closely to Thurber's story by keeping all of the dialogue between the husband and the wife. But saying along with that, so that was the way that you tied it to the story. But the major difference between Walter Mitty and Mrs. Mitty, that her first name is Mrs., she doesn't have a real name. Mrs. Mitty is a person who's not troubled with much imagination.
Why I like omitted that.
Yeah. She seems to be grounded in right now. It's about him. It's not that she doesn't love him.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't think that this really did change the characters essentially. It just gives us a portrait of Mrs. Mitty in a way I think enriches the reading of Thurber. It's not much fun, but then I don't think Mrs. Mitty's probably as much fun as Walter either. But whether you're inside him or in his mind or outside, that's not nicely done.
Mm-hmm. How many other students have comments about this, or questions for them? Kenya, would you tell us what you?
I tried to change some factors and change some factors I didn't change.
What story did you select?
Miss, sorry, Miss Mitchell.
Okay, Mitty.
Miss said a big fantasy about her husband. In fact, her husband was the commander of the seaplane in reality life. As a actor, he is domineering. Shoots orders at his men who obey him instantly. Commands the respect of his men. His wife never agrees with him, but he imagined he is well-known surgeon who saves life of special clearance. Drove her to the beauty salon. He was waiting for her in the hall, reading a newspaper. While his wife was doing her hair, she imagined him in the role of the surgeon. As respect of all his colleagues, he is modest and calm. Even in a crisis, he speaks in a low, cool voice. He is in control. She uses her fantasy world to combat what she dislikes about reality. Her fantasies meet his wife. Fantasies dominate reality. In real life, Mitty was proud and undefeated. He imagined he is calm and discreet. So.
Good. That's good. That's a lot. There's a lot in this story to work with. This story, Ksenia?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Make sure in December, I bet the movie will come to Russia. I'm sure that you go see the movie in Russia. It comes out in December, coming out on Christmas Day, as I remember. Good. Yeah. How about you?
I changed the story. I changed the narrators. In my story, the narrators was Dr. Was the psychologist, and Walter Mitty was who came in one day. It was in the beginning of my story. And also I changed the end of my story. It was happy and was worried about his strange things. In one hand, he was hero in his mind, but in real life, he just only man. And then I changed that Dr. Church gave some advice and Walter to follow this advice, and he started to discuss their religion, and in the last he became very famous. Very famous actor.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard.
Okay. Everybody's Walter Mitty. Everybody's Walter Mitty. He likes Walter Mitty. Thank you very much. That was good. That's Alicia.
I was posted ideas to invent something myself, so I have watched the movie with Danny Kaye. That's all.
Okay. Yeah.
Watched how the Hollywood film players changed the story, and they changed the plot.
Okay. Well, tell us about that. Were there differences between the Hollywood version and the printed version?
Well, version they changed almost everything. They added some characters. Eventually, conflict. The Hollywood story with Danny Kaye. This is the story about that he's a daydreamer, but he found that it's very hard to be a hero in the real life.
Mm-hmm.
When that was his wife in the story, that woman was his mother in the movie. She tried to possess him. He works in publishing house.
Mm-hmm.
He corrects her correct the mistakes with the story in the story.
Editor.
An editor, and then he meets a beautiful girl that some troubles, and girl asks him to help, and Walter Mitty finds out that it's very hard to help her because he's scared. The case with international conflict with international the international gang, criminal gang.
Mm-hmm.
With they work with international and he has to help the girl to struggle with them, and well, he became as fearless as he was in his dreams. the bride, and he refused to marry the bride that his mother chose for him, and he married girl, or he tried to, no, he did marry her, but they refused to marry his bride that his wife, his mother chose for him. And the Hollywood screenwriters changed the settings because we can see some, not only some scenes where he acts, his the publishing house, his own house, the street, apartment of the character of Walter Mitty himself, because it was quite a young guy.
Alessa, that's good. I like the way you approach this. I hadn't thought of sharing the story with the film, and I'm glad that you did. Hollywood writers changed it. You might say that they changed everything, right?
Oh yes, they changed almost everything. The only thing that they had, it was the ability of Walter Mitty to dream.
I want to ask you, with all of that change, was the film faithful to the original story? Was the theme of the original story intact?
I don't know. It seems like no. It was completely different.
Different story. You think? What about the rest of you? Does any how much change? How much change can we do? Completely destroying the theme of original. Can you change 10 things? Can you add characters? Everything?
Well, they could change because I have read that James Ferber was consulting them. I guess. So it was completely different, of course. But he tried to, if they tried to make the movie very closely the text, I guess it's a very short movie. A very
It'll be interesting to see what the new version, how the version looks when we finish. All right.
Well, yeah, it's true.
Thank you very much. Have we heard from you? To tell us what you did?
Yeah.
We did. I'm sorry. But I've been trying to say Raikon. I've looked at Raikon and I'm saying Maria. Good morning.
Well, for me, I have seen the story, and I think that all episodes are full of emotions. I like this movie very much. You see, as American actor, as the main character of all these movies. Well, I want to say that episodes are emotive. No.
Is that all that you'd like to add today, or do you talk more? I wanted to ask, was that your comment, or did you want to say more?
Oh, I have some problems with my microphone.
Okay. Okay, we'll come back to you before we finish and
Okay.
and see if that's fixed. Svetlana, how about yourself? Would you you approach this task?
Oh, sorry, I had a backstory story. I didn't think I was supposed to. I've got it ready here. Well, when you first read this story, you get an impression of a hacked husband who is really a victim of a very domineering wife, right? But I thought I'd look at the story from a slightly different point of view, from the point of view of wife. Well, I'm supposed to read this story. I thought I was, so I'll just describe it. Right? What is written. Am I supposed to do?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, whatever. People have had different differences.
I could read the story that I wrote, or I can talk about what I've written.
Well, how about if you let's do a third thing. Before the week is done, please post your story online, the story you have written, okay, in the blog, and please do that. And right now, though, is the story long? Did you read the whole thing?
I say it is short. For one thing.
Wouldn't say it is short. Oh, okay. So how about if you maybe read part of it and summarize the rest?
Okay, right. I don't know.
What do you like best?
Best?
Like best. Like best.
I'm not right. I don't like my story. So I'll begin from the beginning, so to speak.
Okay. It's a good place to be. Let's start from the very beginning. Yes. Okay.
It's like this. Well, husband has never been a confident, down to earth kind of person. Sometimes he would even make an impression of insecure, shy, and a withdrawn man. In the days of our marriage, I sometimes noticed a dreamy expression on his face, and it was obvious that he was deeply engrossed in his thoughts. At first, it didn't worry in the least, but as time passed, the periods when he seemed to lose touch with the real world became prolonged. Could occur anywhere really, when he was crossing the road, driving, or helping me with the shopping. At point, I became concerned with safety, so I persuaded Walter to see a doctor. Of course, I tell him that it was a psychiatrist. At first appointment, Dr. Richard did that there was nothing wrong with Walter. So he'd ask whether he had been under a lot of stress due time preceding our visit. I wasn't satisfied with the result of the examination and started watching Walter a little bit more closely. When I was dusting the furniture, I saw a scrap of paper under the desk. I picked it up and the it was. At first I couldn't understand, but I thought Walter might have been trying his hand at writing. But then it dawned on me that my husband had been carried away with this and had been escaping into the otherworldly realm. So that this sort of daydreaming is harmless. Maybe, I would say, maybe for a teenage girl, it's okay, but not a grown-up man. So I went to Dr. Renshaw again, a piece of evidence of my husband's odd condition, and this time he agreed that sometimes was the matter. We were on conversation in his office, the speech was interspersed with incomprehensible medical terms. I managed to understand that my husband's condition was caused by the fact that this world was too much for him, too cruel, too harsh, and his fragile side escaped. So he prescribed some sedatives, and since that time he had seen Walter for a regular checkup. It's worrying me. We seem to be drifting apart more and more. And today, for example, when he was taking me to hairdressers, he began to accelerate the car and it took me a couple of minutes to bring back reality and make him drive slower. And he was staring at me blankly as if he didn't recognize me. Obviously been in the middle of performing some heroic feat again in his imaginary world, when interrupted him. What worries me most of all, this condition is deteriorating and grows older. Also aggravated the increasing forgetfulness, absentness, absent-mindedness, and moodiness. It is as a kid. Well, the other day we talked about getting a pair of overshoes for him. And old shoes began to let the water in, but he suddenly began to protest against getting the overshoes. I tell you, how frustrating it is to live with somebody who seems out of touch, to be out of touch with the real world in you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's great. That's great. Listen, I want to ask you, that's terrific. Your story end. Story end.
Well, a rather kind woman. She decided to put up with that and stay, stay a life partner, and just accepted, although she is grieved about that. So she's fighting that.
Mm-hmm. She stays married, and his condition continues to deteriorate. That's not a happy ending, is it? Or is it?
That's quite a pessimistic story.
It's a pessimistic story. All right. Well, that certainly changes the tone of it. Great deal. Good job. That was interesting. Now, in James Thurber's version of the story, did you like the wife? Was the wife in terms of appeal? Was Walter Mitty an appealing character? Was wife an appealing character?
Well, actually not. They cross as a very I would say insensitive. Who doesn't understand is not willing to understand him.
Okay. And in your version of the story, is it the same? Or?
No, she's well aware of his condition, but she cannot do anything really about it. She's trying to, but it's hopeless.
Okay. That's very good job. Nicely done. Nicely done. Thank you. How about yourself?
I forgot to unmute my micro. So I have already published my version of the third life of Anita. I'd like to summarize it. So, at first, I added the beginning of the story, and according to it, a young intern to practice in one of the most famous hospitals in New York. And this person, this young man, is very handsome. He
did sports and keen on racing and aircraft. He loves speed and risk, and so seems that speed is second in. So, and after some months, he was chosen as the main object of scientific observation by Dr. Renshaw. And this doctor and the group of scientists were trying to study the state of different hallucinations. And the task of that young intern was to fix or to write his feelings, emotions, and where he feels. And so I haven't changed the original story, but then I added the gun, and according to it, this scientific research was rather successful. The group of scientists understand the cause or the reason of such a psychological illness, and this young intern then became a great specialist, and his patients rather quickly.
Very good.
Thank
Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Of you, please remember to post your stories in the blog or as comments in the literature blog. Excuse me. Just a moment. One selected the story of an owl. Selected the story of an owl. Media is a lot more fun to work with. I'm too. Let's do this for a moment. I'm going to change one of the. I'm going to change one of the factors in the story of an hour right now, and I'd like each of you to tell me what effect that would have on the story. All right. Remember the very end of the story of an hour when Ballard comes home unexpectedly after everyone had presumed that he was dead, and Mrs. Mallard looks at him and collapses and dies right there, and the doctor says that she died of a broken heart. Okay, so I'm going to change that just a little bit and see what happens next. Miss Mallard saw her husband collapsed, but she didn't die of a weak heart. She just fainted. In 10 minutes, her friends she had come to, and her life and her friends were all happy to see her alive. So, Ksenia, what happens next? Icon, could you mute your microphone? There's background noise, please.
Well, I hear you. I can hear you.
What happened? So Mrs. Mallard did not die. What so happens?
What?
Mrs. Mallard does not die.
Mm.
Well, of the story of an hour, son was opening the front door with a key. Gently met, who enters a little travel stained, completely carrying the knapsack and umbrella. He far from the scene of the accident and did not even know there had been one. He's amazed at Josephine's piercing cry and quick motion to screen him from the of his wife. The doctor came. They said she died of heart disease, of the day that kills.
Of the drug that kills.
The end of the story of an hour.
That she didn't die. We're in version of the story. She did not die.
Well, she did not die.
No, that's my version. What happens next? Have an opinion?
The logical thinking, I think she will get divorced. But,
Divorced, yeah.
yeah, but if it happened a long time ago, we know divorce is really accepted by the society, so I think she would hesitate. But she shouldn't endure that husband that she didn't like.
Good. Maria, do you have an opinion? What happens if so? She get divorced, but we don't think that's a realistic option. Time. What happened?
I have any idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We think. No. Yeah.
Oh, but I think that be a burst of emotions. She could, her husband, even that she thinks of him. then there's something will happen. Maybe they will divorce, or maybe problem will solve in sort of the way.
Good. What do you think?
Well,
And happy Svetlana, what do you think? What
I think
next?
by the time she would have realized that she could be a different person, she probably gradually will try to get the message across to her husband, and they'll have to work it out somehow. The relationship will change. I'm not predicting what way because I don't know how he will react to that. Probably if he loves her, he would have to accept some of the changes that happened to her.
Mm-hmm.
So it all depends on that. We don't know anything about his character. He is not. We presume that he is a very dictator-like person, but it depends on how they feel about each other. So really, hopefully it will work out well for them. I don't know.
Okay.
How insistent she would be, whether he would accept a new realization of herself. He doesn't accept that. That will probably, they will break up. There will be some tragedy in the family.
Do you think she would ever?
Yeah, but there has to be a change because the shock was so profound. She discovered for herself that she could be different. It was so important for her that she would try to live a different life, different kind of life. And he will have to go along with that. He will have to cooperate if he wants to stay with her.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think.
Maybe he might run away. Professor Marston says maybe she would run away. She would run away with
but she's a timid kind of person. All this time, but she had been putting up with that all this time, so she wouldn't dare.
If Agatha Christie were writing the story, the wife would kill the husband. So the wife would kill the husband. That would be a possibility. Yes.
If she's a cruel animal, then she probably deserves. I presume that there is always in every person there is a dark side and light side. So hopefully that works out somehow.
Who knows? There's an entire genre of murder mysteries and detective stories that based on the dark side of people. Good, thank you, Yulia. What do you think?
Similar to you, Miss Mallet might poison his husband and then try to live happily. While their life is not it's very sure.
Somebody said that she would decide that she would want to become a mother. They would want to have children. Maybe she would become a mother and give her energies into being a devoted and loving mother. Don't you think?
It is a possibility. Yeah, it changes life completely when you get a child. Well, you have a child.
Yeah.
And then you have to put with lots of things after that.
So that's possibility.
Yeah, it is.
So we have possibilities ranging from runaway, committing murder, having a child, or just living with it, enduring. I think maybe Kate Chopin selected the best alternative, and Mrs. Mallard die at the bottom of the stairs at the doorway. Okay, good. All of you, nicely done. I think this makes the point that the elements of the story. The elements of the story are the way that the author of a story or any work of literature selects them, combine together to make a whole, and manipulate the parts. Then you change the story. It's a different story. It's similar, but it's different, and you can see that it doesn't take much change to completely change the character of the story. Any concluding comments, Professor Smith, Marston, or Lise?
I was intrigued how much the stories might tell us about our cultural thinking, and especially your discussion, Professor Lear, about American happy endings.
American happy endings.
That may be a good segue for us to our topic for next week. Shall I say a phrase before we finish?
Yes.
We're going to spend our last 2 weeks thinking about. Can you pass me the ball, Professor Lear?
Yeah, just a second. Where you go.
We are to spend our last 2 weeks, December 3rd and December 10th, thinking about culture, how we define culture, and how we talk about culture. And this is a critical topic for all of us as language teachers. We talk about this element of culture, this bigger world that we all swim in. And sometimes we lack a vocabulary to talk about it. So we're going to use a framework by a Dutch researcher whose name is Geert Hofstede. And we're going to think about Russian culture and English-speaking U.S. culture and think back over our semester at things we've done, at short stories we've read, at videos we've looked at and shared, at political topics we've talked about, and try to look at them through a cultural lens. You'll have fun with this, and first thing we need to do is give ourselves some vocabulary, some way of thinking about culture. We're going to send you some readings. We're going to be using what's known as the Hofstede, and that's his name, that's his last name, cultural dimensions. He was a researcher who worked alive in the 80s and 90s and now in the 2000s. Think about how you describe a culture. How is Russian culture different from the U.S., different from the culture in Peru, different from culture in Sweden? And can we research that and quantify it and think about it in very ordered research ways? For example, one of the ways that Hofstede talks about cultures being different is how individualistic or collectivist they are. So when you think of America, you probably think of the word individuals. We're always individuals. We think about our career paths and how we're going to move forward in the world. Family is important to many of us, but we're seen as a very individualistic culture. On the other hand, is seen as a more collectivist culture. Group and connections and family carry very important weight, even in school, the school class you're in, your classmates, all of those are ties that really bind you throughout life. So when we send you your assignment for this coming week, we're going to do a little bit about the Hofstede mentions and how we can use them. And then we're going to start thinking about various cultures, and the two obvious ones are Russia and the U.S. And we're going to literally look at how our country scored in the Hofstede research and how we think about individualism versus collectivism, how we think about our relationship to people in power, how we think about the future, how we think about the past. These are all really interesting questions and hopefully will give us a way to talk about both differences and similarities across cultures. So your task this coming week will be mostly reading, but the following week we're going to begin to use that framework and think about, could we look at a short story and see things in it that just feel American? Is Walter Mitty a short story that could only have been written by an American because of this fiercely independent sort of streak that we have? These are the sorts of questions we're going to ask over the next several weeks and help finish this up and think of culture, but also think about the semester itself. Professor Marston, anything to add before we finish today?
Except to send you all greetings on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah.
For the brief hour on evening that we're all part of a little family.
We're very collectivist at this point.
Very collectivist at this point. So happy holiday to all of you.
Thanksgiving week, yes.
Happy Thanksgiving week to all of you. And thank you for your work. It was that nicely done.
Very nice work today.
Very nicely done.
Thanksgiving. A good day to you. Mm-hmm.
Well, next week.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Goodbye.